What's up, man? How you
What up?
doing?
What's up, dude?
We are live. Freaking man, so I found you from on Instagram obviously, and then um there was a guy, Mike, that is a Navy veteran, and he follows you, and he had made a comment on one of your posts, and I think that, well, not think, but like that was how we actually started following each other. Um And since following you, man, I have absolutely just like your perspective. And then, like, well, I mean, the second that I saw you, I was like, this motherfucker is a bad motherfucker. Like, I just, people that are like colorful and just like their personality speaks through their tattoos and shit like that. And like, you just had a really interesting appearance, you know what I'm saying? Like, unique and stuff like that. So, the more that I followed you, the more that I saw your content, the more that I wanted to connect with you, right? All right. Look, I'm gonna do mine ass backwards though. Like, friggin' looking at the computer screen versus like the camera over here, I couldn't get that movement down. But I guess I don't practice it enough. But so I guess that's where we kind of connected, and then uh man, you want to tell us a little bit about yourself, what you do?
Yeah, man. So my name's Cody Alford. I retired from the Marine Corps back in 2018. I got out, realized that I really was not happy with my life or where it was going. I had no sense of purpose, direction. So I set on this journey to find myself in simple terms. And along the way, I was just sharing my story, and people started to gain some momentum, to gain some traction, and it was inspiring people along the way. 20 later that year, I started my personal brand called We Defy the Norm, where I encourage people to live life on their own terms, because life is short. And I realized that when I was just battling my like pretty gnarly depression, I'm like, dude, I'm gonna wake up one day and actually not be awake. And I had gone through all these things in life, and I got tired of wasting my life. So I continued to invest in myself, and it's been working out for me so far. And I just do what I can to do my part to encourage others to do the same thing, because we only trap ourselves to ourselves, and it's only us that can free ourselves from the hell we kind of put ourselves in. So anyways, that's what I do now. I run a personal brand called We Defy the Norm. I also run an online coaching group called R3 Raw Real Ready, where I help people get out of their own way. Oh, look at that shirt. See,
Manifest that shit, dude.
It's actually one of our new ones. We're here, Push the Fight. I'm sure you use that when you're in the military, push the fight, right? When you have overwhelming odds stacked up against you, you can crumble, you can give up, you can surrender, or you can push the fight and make it happen. We increase our chances of success by 50% just by trying. Well, that's just a fact, right? And, a lot of times, I know for me, when I was really down on myself, I never saw life in that aspect, that capability that I had within to actually move forward and push the fight. So as I started to pick myself up from the darkness within, and gain that personal self-respect, that personal momentum, just kept pushing forward. And that's what I'm doing, man. I'm not perfect. I just know I'm better than yesterday. And that's really what it's about. It's not being better than you, anyone else, but being better than me, being better than yesterday. It's not that I'm unhappy with life, not that I'm always looking for more in life. I just know there's more inside of me. And as I evolve, as I grow, I change and I grow. And so why wouldn't I, continue to sharpen my sword? What got me to today is not going to get me to tomorrow. So that's kind of the evolving being mindset that I have. That's been helping me navigate life with a little bit more self-respect and pride within.
Man, that's powerful words, man. Powerful words. But it's true. It's when that has a lot to do with the same, with my mindset as well. So a lot of similarities of trying to be better today than I was yesterday. 100%. That's why we train. That's why we work out. There is no middle ground. There is no gray area in life. You're either getting better or you're getting worse. You can't just, oh yeah, I'm staying the same. Well, no, the fuck you aren't, because you're not, like, you're either getting older and getting closer to dying, or you're going to seek those physical improvements. I think Andy Frisella had mentioned something about, you might be killing it in business, but if your physical health is lacking, you're not killing it as much as you think you are. and you could level yourself up whenever you do that, right? Like when you focus on your health and stuff like that. When you talk about your depression, man, because like that's something that hits with me as well. Is like I battled depression so many times, and then one day I heard you talking about your hormone, your HRT, if you don't mind bringing that up. But if you what what made you decide to like check into that, like whenever you were having like the depression thoughts and stuff like that? Because I'm on HRT as well, and it has absolutely changed my life. And also that is something that I believe in sharing the journey, because bro, motherfuckers out here today, they're so judgmental and stuff like that. Oh, you're on the juice and you're on whatever. Like it's like, bro, the older you get, the more that shit gets depleted. Okay, you don't like, and then I have people that say like, oh well, once you get off on it, you're never gonna get off of it. Well, motherfucker, check this out. If you need it, you're gonna be on it forever. If you're low, you're not gonna just miraculously get to a 900 in your testosterone.
I mean, these are the same people that like pop Adderall, or the pop Percocets or pop any type of antidepressant. I'm saying, like, people like to pick and choose what battles and what flags they want to plant, right? Because they only know their perspective of life, and anything that's taboo to them or outside their norm is foreign. And what do people do in foreign? What does society show you in every alien movie known to man? When aliens come to America, we shoot first, ask questions later. Well, we judge first, especially in America. That's how we're conditioned. We judge first, and then we ask questions once we're broken. And people have their own battles they deal with. They just are only educated in whatever's important to them. So, I got on TRT, testosterone replacement therapy, back in 2000, probably 2010. I was still active duty. I was an instructor at our schoolhouse at the time. I think it was 2010, maybe 2009, doesn't matter. 2009, who cares? And I was a sniper instructor, and I was setting up a hide site in one of our vehicle platforms. And I just leaned over and decided to lay down. I was so fatigued. I was just like, I need to take an adult nap, like in the middle of doing work, setting it up before the students got there. I probably had like an hour, and I just laid down, and I'm like, my friend's like, dude, what are you doing? I'm like, bro, I have to lay down, dude. I'm extremely drained instantly right now. And I went to the doctor, and I'm like, hey, man, like, I'm super fatigued all the time. Like, I just took an adult nap in the middle of actually working today. I felt like I needed to, like I had to, like, or I was going to just fumble. I said, hey, man, my sex drive is kind of low. Sometimes I have a hard time getting an erection at this time, like all these different things. Cause I wasn't really diving into, I've dove into depression and stress previously and anxiety previously in my military career, probably like 2005-6 timeframe. And so now fast forward 3-4 years, I think things get better. At this point in time, I'm probably mid 20s, right? Mid 20s, mid to late 20s, early 20s, mid 20s. Anyways, and so the doctor's like, hey, before I prescribe you this, let's go get your blood tested. Well, lo and behold, I had lower than female testosterone.
Holy shit.
Yeah, I think my numbers are actually like 71. They were extremely depleted. And yeah, bro. And I found out later on, and obviously through research, that, TBIs, traumatic brain injury, stress, depression, even the food you consume, the water you drink, all these things tie into how your body regulates hormones. And once how our body works in a very simplistic way that makes it easy for me to understand is, once one thing goes, something else in your body has to work overtime to balance yourself out. Well, that's like running on fumes. You can only run on fumes for so long before you're just going to wear and tear on your body and shut down. So long story short, I got on testosterone. I've been on testosterone for over a decade now. And I dealt with all that stuff. Oh, you're juicing, you're big, because I take pride in what I eat and because I exercise. I know plenty of friends that are fat that take testosterone. Bro,
I was gonna say bro. How many people do you know are on gear like hard, but still look like shit because they have zero work ethic?
Right, because you can't just pump things, and that's like someone that says like, oh, you take testosterone, you're gonna get too big. That's like saying, oh, if I eat all the protein, I'm gonna get jacked. No, bro, that's not how it works. You have to make deposits into yourself. I was a big jack dude because I worked out all the time. And what people forget in the military, why military guys and girls are so jacked, dude, you're around alphas all day, even the
Oh,
betas that are in the military, right? And it is scientifically proven that when you're around that level of testosterone, that level of workflow, and that just synergy, you perform more. That's why guys and girls get out of the military and they feel so fucking depressed and lonely and detached, because
you
that
lose that.
vibe, whether it caused them pain or issue or suffering, right, it's gone now. And now they have a hard time in a world of like judgmental keyboard commandos, or, oh, I was going to join the military, or wars, but all these different opinions of society. It's not the same type of synergy. So anyways, I've been on test for about 10 years, and it's absolutely changed my life. And it helps regulate my hormones, right? I can take testosterone all I want to. I'm not going to get jacked. I have to put in the physical and mental investments to be that level of fitness for myself. But I mean, it's been a game changer. I mean, I have so many friends that I talk to that are just constantly depressed. Well, depression can come from a chemical imbalance within you. Well, when you have a hormonal chemical imbalance, when you have a pituitary issue, or you have some type of like
Gut issues.
thyroid, gut issues, any of these things, because one thing they don't teach us from day one is how to take care of ourselves and how to have longevity, because we're part of the system, right? You go to the education system, you fall in line with the medical system, right? You fall in line with the food system, all these industries. It's a one big cycling thing to keeps us in this funnel, and that funnel is a downward spiral. Well, once you try to break free from that, or you identify the fact that you're just tired and fed up with how you're feeling or how you're performing, and you raise your hand and say, hey, this can't be right. Well, that's when you start doing your blood work. And I highly encourage anyone to get blood work. Boy, male, female, it doesn't matter, because you'd have no idea the things either you put into your body, been exposed to, things that have happened to you, even trauma, right? Even childhood trauma, basic trauma, if there is such thing called basic trauma. Because you never know. And on top of that too, like I found out that I had some kidney issues that I needed to adjust, right? I needed to balance out more than just, oh, you're low in testosterone. And so that's why I use a company called Core Medical. I was using the DoD system when I was first in. They put me out to an endocrinologist out in town, but it was a bunch of old people, right? Like a bunch of diabetics, which great. I'm glad they're getting help. But I had this issue. I'm like, hey, I'm a professional military athlete. In short, I came from the special operations community. I was always go, 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 high demand. And I'm like, I'm still not feeling adequate. Well, because the military has this great thing of only sending you to like the Band-Aid, not the
bare
surgeon.
minimum.
Yeah, the bare
They're
minimum.
just gonna mask some shit.
Yeah, so I was getting testosterone that was helping out, but there was still some things that I wasn't able to fine tune until I actually got out and got in control of a real medical professional that specialized in this, right, to help regulate my hormones and get me back to my top performance. Because, like you said, man, every day we're dying. Every day from birth, we're literally dying. And you can have the best business model, you can have the best business that you run, but that's not why you were here. You weren't here to run businesses. You're here to live and experience life. And if you want to experience that gift, right, we have to take care of ourselves. And, that's the mental health aspect. And even mental health falls in with the testosterone replacement, at least knowing what's going on. We have a hard time seeing the signs and symptoms on the outside, right? Because most people have a hard time communicating their emotions. Well, if you have a hard time communicating your emotions, you sure as hell don't know what's going on in your blood, your chemicals, your cortisol levels. We just tell ourselves, oh, I just have shitty sleep, and I've had shitty sleep for 4 years. Well, have you ever said anything to anybody? No.
Have you ever done a sleep study? Have you ever done this? Have you analyzed this? Whatever. Like, what is the root? You gotta. It's deeper than just not getting the disease. You know what I'm saying? Like,
right. Yeah. It's the thing is, like, people will like invest more time into get a girl, or to go on a date, or to find the right sell on this pair of shoes or whatever, right? More than they will to dive deep into themselves and their own well-being. And lucky for me, I was at a pretty low point when I got out of the military. I was on a bunch of uppers. They thought I was narcoleptic at the time. So not only did I have a hormonal issue, I had this my cortisol levels were completely jacked up. I couldn't control any like stress, like, right? I needed no stress in my life, because to the point I blew out my stress receptors and I wasn't able to function normally. I'd have these like extreme highs and these very low depressive lows. And I'd have uncontrollable anxiety like surges, right? So I had to like quit my jumping, my skydiving, because I'm like, dude, I can't afford to come from an adrenaline high before I even leave the plane, and now I'm jumping out feeling complacent and drained. And then there's a lot of things that are relying on me to perform in my top notch shape. And one day my wife's like, she starts looking at all the pills that I'm taking. She's like, what is this? As I'm drilling on myself inside my house. And just like literally I went from like in my world, like Superman, right? Not like I was better than anybody, but I was performing at this like peak performance, to just cognitive crash where drilling on myself. I couldn't take care of myself. My wife had to set up my clothes and cook for me, sometimes put food in my mouth. Like I was like an adult baby at this point in time in my life. So she started to research all this stuff. She's like, bro, we're just poisoning ourselves. And I'm just like, okay. And so I was so desperate for change. That's when I actually started to like dive deeper into my own health and not just address the testosterone, issues, the hormonal issues, but address all these other things that tie into our trifecta, that mind, body, spirit aspect, which I was obviously neglecting.
Yes. So, and talking about, you mentioned something about like how people have a hard time explaining their feelings. I think that I've heard you say you're real big into journaling and stuff like that, right? And you have this other, you have a group. You want to talk about the group and like how is that like, does that relate to this? Is like let me see if I can say this.
The power of the school.
through the things that you were dealing with and overcoming, is that how you put together this group? Like of things that like you noticed that were insufficient, would I say insufficient or deficient in your life, and then you use that to kind of like level up? Is that, or how did you come up with the formula for your group and then does it relate to helping you get your emotions out?
So are you talking about my R3 group, Raw Real Ready?
Yes.
Yeah. So basically I realized that I wasn't the only one that was, I realized years ago that I only knew what I knew. And knowing what I knew wasn't going to get me to the version of me that I was happy with. So therefore I started investing in like retreats, psychedelics, different types of different modalities for healing, basically like self-discovery, communication, reading all these self-help books, reading all these like neuro quantum physics books, just to educate myself on what I was passionate about. And at the time, just like I am today, I was very passionate about living, because I realized that if I continued on the path that I was going to, I wasn't going to live very long, or I was going to live by myself, because I was continually destroying everything around me. Self-destruction, bro. Like literally walking nuclear bomb, just waiting to go off. And every time I would go off, I would just feel even worse inside, and I would punish myself even more, because I didn't even want to go off. I didn't even want to blow up, but I just did. And I was like, dude, why is this happening to me? And so, years later, where I'm still figuring life out and I'm still growing and progressing, I'm like, dude, I'm not the only one, man. So how can I help people and share with people that are maybe stuck in their own way, right? They know they're holding themselves back, and they're at a point now where they're ready to invest and level up, right? They clearly just need to know something that they don't know, and that's going to take them to the next level, right? It could just be a simple perspective shift. And I know as I've gone through all of my mastermind groups and been part of like other forms of like consulting aspects, like we're just looking for that little nugget, that one little, oh man, that makes so much sense. Like when someone puts reality into your face, like, yo, bro, you're going to die one day, right? Well, I can tell you the months that I used to sit on my floor crying in my big ass empty house by myself because I was so depressed, I never thought about I was going to die one day. I never thought about all the time that I was just really wasting because I was accepting my norm. I was accepting my state of being, vice, doing something radically different to shift my perspective. And I know that I don't want people to ever feel that way. And I know it's going to happen. People are going to feel that way. But the thing is, some people don't know they can feel differently. And so that's what I started my group for. I'm like, yo, dude, wherever you're at in life right now, if you want a better relationship with yourself, your spouse, your team, your business, your views on life, like this is the place for you. And I literally just share things either A, I've gone through, or B, I'm currently going through, and what I'm doing to combat those or work through them. Because it's important. I believe we can heal the world with just simply communicating. But everyone, at least in my experience, in my circle and initially, they try to solve all these problems by themselves, right? They think that they're the only ones that has an imposter syndrome. They think they're the only ones that have some self-sabotaging habit, or they're not even aware that they have some self-sabotaging habit. What do? We tell ourselves new truths, right? We tell ourselves new stories. Well, I just can't keep a relationship. There's just no good guys or girls out there. Like, really? Or is it our own mindset?
Or what is it about yourself that's attracting, you know what I'm saying, ain't
Shit.
shit motherfuckers, right? You know,
Right.
so
And if you have no self-respect or self-worth, right? If you hear that, some people can find offense to that. Well, I realized I had no self-respect for myself. That's why
but
I
if
was.
you're taking offense to that, you should
That's a
probably
trick.
check yourself
Yeah.
anyway, because that's a fucking problem.
Yeah. And that's when I started to realize, triggers, when I used to get triggered by people, if I saw someone happy that I knew, I'm like, oh my God, that triggered me inside. I'm like, this person, they sucked before. No, look at them. Like, I couldn't let go of the fact that people can change. Or I saw someone that was living a happier life than me or smiling more. I'm like, oh, I bet they're fucking faking it, right? Like all this negative shit that was coming out of my mouth, which
Dude.
at the time I wasn't picking up on, but really all it was telling me was these are my triggering, right? Was something for me to do that internal work because they had something that I wanted, and I didn't have myself. Therefore, at that time, in my perspective of growing, I just talked shit. Well, all I was doing was saying, you know what, universe, God, whatever you believe in, I don't want that in my life. Fuck that. I'm gonna figure this out myself. Blah blah blah. Like insert woohoo story, right? But when you are the lead character in your own movie, right? Sometimes we believe that movie that we're playing is our fucking reality. Well, if we're a douchebag, sometimes we think we have to be a douchebag because that's who we show up as. And to step outside that norm, to step outside the comfort zone, it's fucking scary. And I knew once I started to raise my hand for help, especially when I was active duty, I didn't care what people thought of me because no one could take away either the things that I've done or the things that I stand for, like, so once I put that together, I'm like, I can't handle someone fucking judge. I can handle someone trying to kill me,
Right.
but I can't handle someone trying to fucking judge me. Like, I'm going to be that big of a puss and like cop out on my own well-being because if I'm not my best, my relationship suffers. If I'm not my best, my business suffers. And in the military, if I'm not my best, my teammates suffer. So it's not about me, right? It's not about me. However, I am responsible for my half of the bargain. This bargain is called life, this deal. And it took me years to kind of put that into perspective where I'm like, oh shit, bro, like we need to do some serious self-work because one, you're triggered all the time. Two, you have no idea about anything. Three, you think you knew it all and trying to do it all yourself. And four, right here. Four, however number 4 is. I just couldn't do it for myself, and I started to reach out for people. And clearly, I'm learning how to count with numbers.
Man, like when you mentioned the imposter syndrome, that was actually I'll kind of pop in here and just do like a little mindset thing like throughout the week and stuff like that or whatever. So I make sure I keep my episodes active and just like anytime that I get. But anyway, so I get back from my deployment and I started having like massive resentment towards anybody that wasn't deployed. And then I was such a piece of shit I was just young and I was confused, right? Of like if you didn't go to combat, even if you were a veteran, but like if you weren't in combat, I looked at you differently. Like if you weren't if you weren't like infantry, combat engineer, or whatever, like had to go and like go, 10 toes down against anybody, like it was like, man, I just didn't respect you the same. I have a lot different mentality now, because I know that like I just have a different perspective. Even to the people that like, if you just process the paperwork from the missions and stuff like that, or whatever, if you had to do that processing, you probably have PTSD from having to read the description of what happened to our brothers and sisters or what happened to, like, I never had an issue with what happened to the opposite side. It was just like when you see your homies, you know what I'm saying? Or like if you see like the carnage for like our troops, right? Like, you know what I'm saying? Or you hear about that side of thing. And then like, so my immaturity for a long time kept me like in this cage, until I got locked up this last time, which was like a little over 3 years ago, 2018. is whenever I kind of like turned my life around and like changed my perspective on everything. And actually, while I was incarcerated, and I wasn't gone for like years or anything like that, like wild shit, dude. Like I wasn't supposed to go to prison, and I got accidentally shipped to prison. So I was supposed to go like 5 minutes up the road to a program, and then I ended up getting shipped to a satellite camp in North Louisiana, and I'm like, man, fuck, this is gonna suck. And then I get my ass beat up there by some guards and shit like that, and then they send me back home like a couple days later. But it was like I got the full experience, you know what I'm saying? I got to go over there and get the shit kicked out of me and all this other stuff, and and so I had all this like blame on it was, oh, you fucked me up behind this, that, whatever. But then when I really started to take ownership of my life and really started to understand the way that life was, I said, well, you know what? It's not. I started to take such ownership that it wasn't his fault that he beat my ass. It was my fault that I was living life as a fucking fugitive, that I was selling dope, that I was doing all the things that I was doing, and I put myself in that position to get there. And then, even though it was an accident that I ended up over there, well, had I not put myself in the position to get incarcerated in the first place, I wouldn't have been there anyway. You know what I'm saying? So it's like,
it's easy to point the finger, especially when it's our own life. Oh, it's someone else's fault, but that's what being a leader is. And people forget that you have to be a leader in your own life. Like, people think that you need a team to be a leader. No, bro. You just need to fucking see the writing on the wall. And the writing on the wall, you
just got to be able to take ownership of your actions, accountability,
ownership. Yeah, which is exactly what a leader is, right? And once you start to lead your life and you realize, yo, bro, I'm leading my life down this dark path that isn't really serving me or anyone else. Well, guess who's going to lead you out of there? You are, either by reaching out for help, by having a perspective shift, by being knocked out with reality. And you're like, oh shit, this sucks. Like, I don't want to experience this again. Not because you're weak. It's because it's that experience that happens. You're like, oh shit, I needed that wake up call. I needed to get busted. I needed to have my ass handed to me. I needed to fucking fall down this to figure out, to actually see where I'm actually at in life. Because clearly before all that happened, you didn't know where you're at.
No.
And if you did, you probably would have acted differently.
But if you don't have the consequences, like if you don't have to answer for shit, you're probably going to stay the same if there's no consequences. It's just like, one of the things that I like to say is, like, people, even in like when it comes to like business stuff, right? Like when people start stepping on people's toes and stuff like that, or like just doing some shady business, I'm like, well, you never sold drugs and it really shows. Because you've obviously never had to fucking worry about getting fucking smoked. You know what I'm saying? Like getting your block knocked off or whatever. You know what I'm saying? You never had enough consequences in life, and people walk around just so like negligent to consequence and stuff like that, but anyway.
But that is absolutely true. People walk around negligent to consequences, and because we're very, I don't know about I don't want to speak for society, but I know I was very narrow-minded. I only saw what was right here, and the fact of thinking, long-term, how are these actions helping me and serving me long-term? I was too narrow-minded to see that and to comprehend that perspective, right? Because I lived in my life in the military, I lived very like, I came home from deployment with a stack of cash, I blow it on shit, right? Like, I'm like, dude, I'm probably gonna get smoked this next deployment. I'm gonna fucking, like, I wasn't manifesting that. I wasn't like, oh, I hope I get killed, but like, that's a reality in the job that I was in. I'm like, well, dude, I'm gonna live my life up, bro. I'm gonna think about tomorrow. I'm gonna think about today. And when you live like that over and over, you start to build this program inside your own system, right? Your own computer right here, this mega CPU. And then now you create your own norm. You don't even know it. And then you get out of the military, you get out of whatever job you're doing where you created all these new systems that are in place and running and they're operational. Guess what's going to happen when you shift that perspective, you shift that job or shift that environment? You're going to run the same shit. So once again, you only know what you know. So how are you ever supposed to change it? You change it with fucking running into reality, when it smacks you in the face, right? So that's punishment, or that is, being incarcerated, right? There's some type of repercussion to your actions. Or you humble yourself enough to be like, you know what? I don't know everything. I'm not happy with what's going on, and I have to do something different. So that means get extremely uncomfortable and just even cry, reach out to a friend, Google how to help myself, right? Buy that weird book, that audio book that your friend recommended to you, but you thought you were a pussy if you read it. Like, there comes a point in time where you realize that you actually have a decision in life. You actually have a turning point that you can choose to walk down the unknown path and see what happens, or you can stay on the path you're at and know exactly what's going to happen. And what's exactly going to happen isn't the shit that you want to happen. It's actually the shit you want to avoid, but you feel like this gravitational pull to self-destruct because you feel like that's the only thing you've known. If you've had a shitty relationship your entire life, right, you're probably going to only endure shitty relationships. And
you're
when
magnetic to that because that's what you're comfortable with.
that's what you're
You know what
comfortable
I'm saying? You can endure that chaos, right? Like it's
like we take pride in like suffering. People are like, oh, be a good boy or girl so you can go to heaven and not hell. Bitch, heaven and hell is right now. You can have hell every day. And I know this because I lived it.
right.
We're worried about, I'm not, but some people are so worried about what happens after they die. They're not even worried about what's happening right now as they're living, how they can truly change their life right now, right? Everything they want's not going to manifest itself overnight, but they can action that instant shift of like, I'm done. No, when I went cold turkey on all my medication, I literally just stopped. I didn't wean off. I said, I'm willing to suffer for this next 2 weeks to stop this shit. Because I can't tell you how many times I've slowly pulled off Band-Aids before. At the end of the day, bro, you're gonna do it or you're not gonna do it. Just like you said earlier, there's no in between. You're either going to stop or you're going to continue. And when the continuing is begging you to stop, that's when you're posed the question. Now you have an option, and that's more than most people feel they ever have at times. But sometimes it takes them to destruct themselves so much. I know it did for me. It took me to destruct myself so much before I realized I actually had a choice to do something different with my life. And after experiencing all that shit, dude, I don't want anyone to ever feel like they have to be a death by cop mentality, which I had for fucking years. They have to be so self-destructive that they literally ruin every good thing around them, because what people forget is that we don't just hurt ourselves. We hurt other people, and we're really good at it. And just think about how easy it is to hurt somebody. It's that
the people that you hurt are the closest ones to you generally because they're the easiest ones to hurt, right? Like,
yeah, because
that's the people and they care.
And they come back, and therefore you're like, oh, you come back? Well, I got to push you away even more. I'm going to push you away the best way I know how to, by just being rude, by being hurtful. JR, what's up, bro? Dude, Real and Raiders, dude, that's one of my homies, man. Actually, during my whole transition out of the Marine Corps, my wife and I were living with JR, Real and Raiders Outdoors. He took us in. We sold our house to start downsizing our life, getting out of the military. And I'm telling you, man, talk about a G that like did not give up on me when he absolutely had the right to, man. I was going through a really hard time in life when we roomed up, and man, I love people, dude. I really do. There's good in everybody, whether they want to see it or not. It's not my job or my role in life to give them that title. I just know they're capable of it, right? But it's up to us to see that. And I navigate my life now with that half full mindset, not this half empty mindset, because life is extremely too short, as much as you and I know. And how it's really, to me, it boiled down to like, how many more days of my life am I going to literally be ungrateful? Ungrateful that I woke up when someone else didn't, and not like, oh, someone didn't wake up today, so I have to live a good life. No, I don't need to have that type of projection into the universe. But how many more days am I going to go on this earth, on this rock, before I continue to neglect this gift? The gift to become anyone I want to, impact any way and any how I want to, good or bad, and to literally change the world by absolutely changing myself and understanding that that's the true power, not changing you. I can't change you.
You have no control over that.
I can change myself.
Right. And then that becomes attractive to other people, man.
Absolutely.
When people see you, like, dude, I had a guy, my girlfriend and I were on a walk, and this guy stops, and she's like, "Do you know who that is?" And I'm like, "Not really." But anyway, so he recognized me, and then once I introduced myself, then I recognized him from like social media or whatever, right?
Right.
And he was talking about, man, I just want to fucking go over there, fucking like in this and stuff like that in Ukraine. I'm like, what are you doing right here, right now? You're so focused on something that you can't even touch, and you're not focusing on, like, you're unhappy with this, but you're focusing on something else. Like, that's across a whole, like, you don't even have a plane ticket, you don't have a tour, a shot out there right now, or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Whatever, right? Like, and that's just hypothetically, whatever. Like, so, and so many people get caught up in that like next week, next month. Okay, well, like, if you can have goals, you can say, okay, this is what I want to do. And like I told him, I said, okay, Ukraine's your goal. You want to smash some motherfuckers out there, whatever, right? Start breaking your day down in 15-minute increments, half 15 minute, 30-minute increments, hour increments, whatever, of like how you're going to get to that end goal, right? So if that's your big goal, if you want to go out there and do this, you need to start contacting people now. You need to get your fitness in check. You need to make sure that you're doing the things like making sure your home front's taken care of, making sure you got your affairs in order on this side. So that way that when you go over, everything's not falling apart over here. But if you're unbalanced or whatever, you want to focus all your energy into getting over there, then you have to segment your goals. You have to segment your day. You have to like partition whatever, do whatever you need to do to make sure that like you get to these goals and stuff like that, right? Like, and man, I've had so many things like, and where my goals are, like, I'll start thinking about something. I'm like, man, I just want to be like, and let's just say for this one, first forms elite athlete. Well, I'm like, it's such a massive goal, and I'm just this little dude, right? How am I going to get to there? Well, it's all about consistency. It's all about consistency. It's all about believing in yourself. It's all about putting that intention in there. And I'm just like using this as like a simple thing, right?
Right.
Well, I was drinking. I mean, I've been sober from drugs for 3 years, like smoking meth, shooting up meth, and all that other stuff. You know what I'm saying? Like, now I take CBD. It helps me with my sleep and stuff like that, or THC. A little bit different, right? But it's just like my nerves or whatever you want to call it, like without taking like drugs, like, you know what I'm saying? Um, and I had to start breaking this down of like, okay, what are the things that's going to affect my performance the most, towards where it impacts like me, my productivity. Drinking was a big, like, it's the most socially acceptable thing that you can do, and nothing against drinking or anything like that. But for me, if I'm drinking 3 days out of the week, then I'm intoxicated for 6 to 7 days, because alcohol has lingering effects of 48 hours. So it affects my performance in that. So I'm not thinking clear for basically almost 6 days. And as an athlete, that's trash for me, for myself, right?
Right.
You know, so that was the first thing that I kicked. And then I was like, okay, so for all of 2022, I'm not going to drink. I get into 2022. And then at the end of February, they made the announcement. I was one of their First Forms brand ambassador, sponsored athletes. I got a contract for that. And then a couple weeks later, I ended up getting another one with Transcend. And then it's just been like just nonstop. I told myself, I said the universe, right? And I'm like, just show me a sign that I don't need this shit. Okay, well, 2 months after you stop, you got boom, 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 right? And then I've got this event coming up in May where I raise money for veterans to help them get service animals and stuff like that. And I'm working on getting my foundation set up and shit like that. Well, the first 2 years that I did it, my first year I did it, I had a goal of $5,000. We doubled that. We raised 10,245. Second year, we had a goal of 10,000 just to meet the year. We just want to, like we talk about of I just want to beat me yesterday. I want to be better. Same thing with that, right? It's just beating the previous year. Well, we're actually almost at 20 grand.
Nice.
And we haven't even gotten to the event yet. You know what I'm saying? And I say we're almost at 20, not quite. We're like 13 or something like that. But that's literally a small number. When you see that kind of stuff, it's like, oh shit, well, like this is gonna be legit, right? And that's before expenses and stuff like that. That's just like throwing a raw number out there. But that event actually helped me create purpose in my life and showed me what I was capable of. The first, because the pandemic had hit and all this stuff. And man, I'm so ADHD. I done got way off track, dude. Like I am a shit show. But like now, there's no format to this. There's no formula. So it's like if I run out of shit to say, you'll just kind of see me like, I kind of forgot what I wanted to say. So that's the benefits of TBI, right?
Right.
You kind of just, I'll be like talking, and that's another thing that I wanted to ask you about is the brain peptides. Have you ever tried any of those, like the dihexa or anything like that? Look, I'm shit. See how fast I switch gears, dude? I'm a
super fast, super fast shifter, bro. I'm actually taking it's called NAD Plus. It helps with cognitive performance. I also get that from the same people that I get my testosterone from, the Core Medical Group. That's helped a lot. Also when I was in the military right before I got out, I did this thing called MERT. I'm gonna screw up. It's like MERT, magnetic resistance something, right? Like basically, long story short, it's these big ass magnets that send out these pulse, right? This magnetic pulse to the front of your brain. Basically, our brain, right? They do like a neural mapping and they see what's not firing. The whole purpose of this device is to re-stimulate those neurons, and to reconnect those highways. So now your brain starts firing. So I basically went from not being able to navigate with a GPS to getting lost in a 2-bedroom apartment. Like this is like facts. To I can use a GPS now. I can basically like walk down the street. If I know where it's at on the map, I can walk down there and not get lost. Like I've made these leaps and bounds just by investing in myself and realizing that I can't function or accomplish any dreams or goals or make an impact in myself or anyone else if I am trash. So I was definitely set out on this like mission to function more, man, because the thing is, you see it all the time. You see people who are losing limbs that are competing in sports or doing all sorts of crazy shit. You see people who are never going to get to walk again. They're walking, whether with robot assisted legs or doing something different, right? Like they're making impact. So why can't I? We all hear those stories of the moms that lift the cars off their kids, right? And you know what they tell us? Oh, they had this surge of adrenaline. Listen, homie, I've had numerous surges of adrenaline before. I was not lifting a fucking car off a kid. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like we are superhuman, but we dumb ourselves down because it's easier for us to comprehend and accept the fact that we're not special, that we can't push forward, that I have to accept my current state of being. Because it's easier when you can give up. When you say, "Oh, it's raining outside," I'm not gonna go run in the rain. I don't want to get sick. You just gave yourself an out. It's easier now. Life is so much easier, even though inside you might have that like quick little dopamine, like, oh, thank God you got us out of that one. But inside, you're fucking yourself over. Well, that's how I felt with my cognitive performance. I'm like, dude, I can sit here and drill on myself for the rest of my fucking life and be pathetic, right? Or I can actually try to do something about it. So, active duty military, I'm like fighting to get all this help, all this assistance, because I wasn't accepting the fact that I'm going to leave here as a fucking vegetable. Getting out, I wasn't going to accept the fact that I'm going to continue to have all this like gnarly depression, anxiety. That's why I started reaching out to plant medicine, psychedelics, ayahuasca, DMT, psilocybin, all these things, LSD, all these different modalities, because guess what? They're scientifically proven to increase our cognitive performance and to regenerate cells that are damaged and to get our brain to function in a capability of creativity. Well, if
some of those things have helped you find?
Dude, 100,000 fucking percent. I tell people the vanilla thing that changed my life was journaling. The cherry on top that changed my life was plant medicine. 100%, dude. One, it helped me strip away my own facade of that I can't change my life. Two, it brought in a sense of self-respect. I finally found love for myself. Not that like, oh, I have it and I'm good to go for the rest of my life, however long that is. No, it showed me that I can love myself, but I have to work for it every day, right? I can't, I lived a life many years where I wanted to be loved. All I wanted to be was to be loved. I just wanted, someone to love me and to want to be around me. And then
You
I'm
have to
like,
love yourself first, though, right?
yeah, you had to love yourself first. And I realized as I stripped away all that my BS in my life, it showed me like, bro, you don't even love yourself. But I can show you that you have an option, you have a choice to. And it just gave me this like fire inside, like, hey, I know that I have a choice now. So the days that I'm sucking, the days that I don't want to do anything, the days I want to quit, give up myself, feel sorry for myself, self-sabotage, self-destruct, and take others down with me, I don't have to do that. And so for years, I just started to chip away day by day, bit by bit to build myself up. And I would just focus. And that's why I journaled like, man, I get really triggered when I see Jeff post something. So now my whole focus, right, for that whole day is to, if I see you post something, to not get triggered by it. And if I am triggered by it, to dissect why did I get triggered? And I apply that to all aspects and areas of my life. And with plant medicines, psilocybin, microdose that stuff. It helped me move forward. And because I was so addicted to uppers, Adderall, Provigil, Dextrin, all these like straight things that are banned, right? The difference between them and cocaine is a molecule. But this is the shit that we give to kids because there's almost like a rite of passage, like, oh, I have ADHD, right? Well, no shit, everyone in America has ADHD. What do you think happens? You have an 8K TV that sends out like how many signals at a fucking time, right? You have a social media platform that you just scroll through. You have a dopamine sensory overload. You watch commercials that just flash signals at you 24/7, right? Like we are continuously distracted. We drive down a car while talking, while listening to your radio and texting at the same time. We're not ADHD. We're just fucking controlled. We're fucking programmed because we say that this is normal. Well, it's not normal. The amount of our minds process 40 million bits of information pass our eyes every second. We're only able to process 40 bits a second of information. 40 bits out of 40 million. There's millions of different perspectives that you can have right now. Remember when you were a kid and it rained outside? You probably wanted to go out and play in it. Remember being a piece of shit adult where you hated your life and it was raining outside? What did you say? Oh man, my day's ruined now because it's fucking raining.
Yeah.
It's
so easy to get caught in that mindset.
It's so easy, and we call it normal. We call it it is what it is. Well, it is what you're accepting it to be. And
what you tolerate, what you accept into your reality.
And I got tired of that shit, dude. So I was willing to do anything and everything I could do, right? That was healthy and productive to find out who I was who is Cody Alford? What the fuck am I capable of? What am I made of? And why am I here? And for me to do that, I had to dive deep on this healing journey. And I realized that it doesn't end. I'm not trying to heal someone to be broke. I'm healing because every day I'm fucking growing, right? What do you do in the gym? You tear muscle.
Yeah, you have to fucking in order to get better, right?
You have to seek that tension, that time under tension. That's the only way muscles grow. We have to tear these motherfuckers up, and then we have to heal them, and that's how we get bigger and stronger, more resilient. Well, our minds are no different. So I'm not healing from years of trauma. No, I've acknowledged my trauma. I'm healing because constantly I'm growing, and every day I'm challenging a new norm that I have accepted of the yesterday. Where I'm like, oh man, it's late. I can't work out today. Fuck you. You know how you felt yesterday when you said that? Why are you going to do it again today? Right. And so I started attacking these micro sabotages that I go through in my day. And, I'm not like, my life's not perfect, and I'm a real human, bro. Like I have desires. I like cheeseburgers. I counting macros sucks. Like I'm a normal person, but
you count macros?
I do. I just started again. Yeah.
I like gummy bears, dude. You like gummy bears?
All right, let me tell you something. We don't eat processed like sugar like that anymore. But when I was active duty, dude, I was a crackhead for gummy bears, bro. Literally, you ever heard of Gobruck?
Yeah.
I was a cadre for GoRuck for a little bit, and my nickname was Gummy Bear. And so like all the participants would bring like bags of gummy bears, bro, because it was in my bio. And they're like, "Oh, let me just bring this fucking mongoloid gummy bears, dude." I would crush those things, dude. I love gummy bears are so good, dude. If you don't
They
like gummy
are.
bears, are you even alive? You know what I'm saying?
Right?
Like,
I don't. Hey, look, if somebody doesn't fuck with gummy bears, dude, hey, look, I don't really like. Not that I mean, if you've cut it from your diet, it's one thing. But if you say that you fucking hate gummy bears, I probably can't fuck with you as a
dude,
human. You know what I'm
dude,
saying?
they're definitely cut from my diet, probably for an extremely good reason.
So you saying you don't use them to train either? Like you don't use the old bro science bodybuilding? No, I'm just fucking with you.
I did actually when I was doing my very first and only bodybuilding competition. I was still kind of eating whatever, and uh, eating now is kind of challenging. My wife did a lot of like hundreds of hours and thousands of hours of research to like, we started to dive into the water we drink, the type of food we eat. I grew up thinking organic was for a bunch of yuppies, and like organic was just rich people bought organic because it costs more, therefore it had to be better. Well, when you look at the pesticides, right? When you look at all the shit that's sprayed in our stuff, the heavy metal contents, and when you understand that your cognitive performance, half of us, especially prior military, active duty and or veterans, male or female, no matter what your job is, one, you were shot up with God knows what.
Right.
And there's already been scientific facts and studies that there's aluminum fillers in that shit. What is aluminum? It's fucking metal. Well, certain things you drink, certain things you eat, there's heavy metals in certain cereals you eat, right? If shit's not tested, right? And not to like freak people out or be like, oh, he's one of those people. I'm not one of those people. I just realized that my cognitive function was going down. So I had to start caring about what I was putting into my body, because we are a big ass sponge. We're literally a big sponge. We absorb everything. I can't tell you how many times I was active duty, and my friend JR saying he's laughing at my diet during competition. When he says diet, he means the starvation I was putting myself through. And I was a complete asshole, dude. I was such a jerk, bro. And JR was one of my best friends, and I was such a dick. But anyways, when heavy metals are small and they have nanomolecule size and they can break our blood-brain barrier, that's what fucks with their cognitive performance. And a lot of people that have depression, tendinitis, like all these types of things, literally a heavy metal detox could truly change your life. I've read cases and seen studies where there was young kids diagnosed with autism that their parents did a heavy metal detox on them, and they're now speaking full, complete sentences at the age of 6 and 7 years old, and they haven't spoken for years. You know what I'm saying? Like, and so when you look at, when I was in the military, I don't know about you, but I used to dip all the time. Grizzly, wintergreen.
If I was in the gunner's hatch, it was dip, and if I was out of the gunner's hatch, it was a cigarette.
Oh, bro, went out. Yeah, I would like smoke me those shitty ass pines, and I would dip like Copenhagen and Grizzly, and But I remember cleaning my guns with CLP and putting a dip in, or I'm like cleaning my guns and I eat a fucking sandwich, and there's never those rubber gloves at the armory.
No, that's just for pussies anyway.
For the solvent tank, right? There's for pussies. Protective equipment is for pussies, right? Well, how many flashbangs have you ever consumed? You ate, like you like walked into, or you smelled, or shooting inside of a house, combat or stateside, where you're just breathing in all that fumes, all that carbon. That shit adds up. And then you don't even wash your hands. You take a fucking piss. Now you're touching yourself, which you're touching your organs, right? So now you're putting that shit back into your bloodstream. Then you go eat your shitty PX food or your Subway food, which, people who read, Subway, it came out that they have yoga mat in their bologna, right? In their food.
Holy
like
shit.
particles of yoga mat, because it's all these fillers. Because how else can you buy something for $5 that you can eat off of for 2 days, but you can't go buy real food and do the same thing? That should be a target indicator for us. But these are different shifts and commitments. So it's really about like, how far are you willing to go? And I'm not perfect. I still eat some shit here and there. I don't eat fast food anymore. But the thing is, I now know that I am the gatekeeper for my own life. If I'm unhappy, I have a list of things that I can do to help myself out, not to distract myself, but to help me. If I'm hungry, I now know there's other options and things that I can eat, things I used to make fun of. Now I have non-negotiables. We don't eat any berries if they're not organic, because berries and leafy greens are some of the most heavily pesticided fruits and vegetables out there. So just like mushrooms, bro, I will never eat mushrooms if they're not organic. Mushroom is a big spore, just like my body is. And once I'm like, oh shit, Cody, you have a bunch of hormonal issues, chemical imbalances, you've already had heavy metal symptoms, toxicity levels. Why would I add to them? And so it's one of those things like, all right, bro, you can say like, it's really tough, I don't know what I'm doing, or you can do what I've done. I'm a guy who was drilling on himself to a guy that starts researching things now because I don't want to be better than anybody. I just want to be my best self because nothing exists without me. My goals, my dreams, my family. If I'm dead and gone, or if I'm broken and beat, I'm not influenced and I'm not changed in the world. And I know I'm here for more, whether that's just to put a smile on someone's face or to trigger thought and perspective shift to somebody. I'm here and destined for more. And now that I've accepted that truth in my life, right, and I've decided that I won't be this piece of shit that I once was, that story that I used to tell myself, I'm willing to go to the edge of the earth, right, to make sure what I'm doing is a of conscious decision, right, not a unconscious decision. And sometimes taking ownership of your life, man, it's not easy, bro. It
No,
was so much easier to go grocery store shopping when I didn't give a fuck what I ate. It was so much easier to, drink on the weekends and eat McDonald's on the way fucking home when I thought that that was okay. But what got me to yesterday, it's not going to get me to today. And what got me to today is not going to get me to tomorrow. So as my consciousness evolves, as my awakening evolves, right, as I realize that I know I'm capable of more, and I know I have true power and potential inside me, are my actions aligned to that? And that's what I share with my group. That's what I share with myself. That's what I share with my brand. Like, dude, this is our life. If you want to go be anyone you want to be, you have that power inside you. Nothing's stopping you but you. That's your life, your terms. That's exactly what We Defy the Norm is about. And I live this life through my own actions. When I fall, I share it, because we got to know that people fall, because we
yeah,
watch social media and we're like, oh, that guy's perfect, or that chick's got a perfect life. I don't portray that shit. I cry, I scream. Like, I have bad days, I have great days, I have in between days. However, instead of me beating myself up for weeks on end, months on end, and destroying everyone else in the process, I now have this go to list of things and practices that I do that can help snap me out of it within hours, sometimes minutes, sometimes. And that is the game changer, like, I don't think anyone ever has a perfect life. And if there's a such thing of perfect life, I don't want that.
I don't. Yeah, so, dude, not to cut you off, but I had somebody. I've had people reach out and talk about like PTSD, and then I know people that have mentioned taking. I can't remember exactly the name of it, but taking this shot like in the neck or
Uh,
whatever to help with like PTSD.
Singling Galate, Ganglion slate block, I think is what it's
Yes,
called.
and when I started hearing about this, I was like, I honestly don't want like if something was to remove my PTSD or TBI or reconnect, I don't want it because I've come to terms with I like the fact that I'm a little fucked up, right? Like it makes me different. Yes, I'm hot-headed sometimes. Yes, I say things that I don't like. I'm okay with that, right? Like cuz I can at least come back and say, "Hey man, you know what? I'm sorry." You know why? Because I'm fucking human. You know what I'm saying? I make mistakes. I do, and as long as you can, it's nothing, it's not a flaw to be a human, but it is inhuman to act like you're not flawed. Like that's a true piece of shit, and that's we have a choice as humans, and whether you're on the right side of life or if you're a piece of shit, that's a choice. If you're, going through your evolution and your growth and progression and getting better and stuff like that, that's also a choice. The type of groceries you get, that's a choice. You know what I'm saying? Dreams, that's a choice. If you're not dreaming big enough, that's also a choice too. You know what I'm saying? So everything is choices, dude. Everything is choices. And I love there was a thing that I go to this Bible study on Tuesdays, and one of the guys, just guys in there, and one of the guys, he's always one of the things that he says that I really like, and is make sure your audio matches your video, and I love that, dude. And I think you do a great job of representing that, talking about the struggle, sharing the ups, the downs, crying, screaming. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, you know, uh, just it's inspiring, man. Because I mean, you're not. there's so, like you said with the social media thing, dude, so many people paint this facade of like perfect, perfection and like this perfect. I don't want it, dude. I don't want to get rid of the PTSD. I know that, like, I have this thing where like I have a plate in my face and stuff like that. Well, like it kind of like like I have nerve damage, so it'll start like whatever jumping and stuff like that. Bro, I wouldn't want things any other day, any other way. Like, that used to be one of the things that I used to fear about being on camera, talking in front of people, speaking in front of people and stuff like that. Now I'll roast myself. I don't give a fuck. Like, I'll be in front of people and I'm like, yeah, I feel it coming. You know what I'm saying? So like, it is what it is. Or if I start stuttering, I'm like, what a fucking dumbass. It's good. It's whatever, and one of the things that also kind of frustrates me about sometimes with people, yeah, we should be kind to ourselves, but being kind to myself doesn't always work. You know what I'm saying? Like, whenever somebody's saying like, come on, buddy, you're doing a really good job. I'm like, nah, come on, you pussy, get the fuck up, fight. It's time to work. You need to work. Get your ass up, get in gear, move it, get the stand up. You know what I'm saying? Like, um, I just, I, I think it just doesn't work for me whenever it comes to like soft mentality stuff. But I mean, I know people, yes, be kind to yourself. Don't be so hard on yourself. But I find that like the harder I've been on myself, the harder I push for my goals, if that
You
makes sense.
know, yeah, I mean, I don't I believe in being kind to yourself. Being kind to yourself to me is speaking truth to yourself. Because
Yeah.
if you want to treat yourself like shit, continue to lie to yourself. If you
Yeah.
want to be kind to yourself, tell yourself the truth that you need to hear. And, when I tell people about self-talk, talk to yourself like a fucking coach is talking to you. He's going to swear. He's going to light your ass up, but he's not going to berate you. He's not going to belittle you. He's not going to fucking, put you in a spot where you just give up on yourself. No. A coach is a leader, right? A coach is there for a reason. And guess what? You have to be your own coach in life. When it's time to light a fire in your ass, you have to be the one. I can do it all day, but if you're not willing to accept your opportunity and this gift of life, ain't nothing going to get through your fucking head. But
Right.
when you
Can't
are
be out
your
here
own,
feeling sorry for yourself,
yeah,
man.
but when you're your coach and you're like, bro, what are you doing? Pick your head up, bro. Like, get the fuck up. Start moving. That's different, dude. That's you. That's your higher self. That's God. That's universe. That's whoever talking through your voice to you. And when you hear that shit, it resonates in a completely different manner. And when you know that you are just begging and pleading with yourself to fucking rise, man, that fire, bro, that fire can change the entire world. But it starts with you, because that means nothing if your video is not matching your audio, like you said. And own your suffering, bro. Just know you don't have to suffer alone. Don't know you don't have to suffer in silence. Know that you don't have to fucking suffer over the same shit. Tomorrow you might suffer over something different. When I started my healing journey, I read this fucking super gnarly book. It was like this massive book. It was the first time I had belief in anything external to myself. And it talked about emotions and feelings. And so I'm like, well, damn, I wrote down all these emotions and feelings I was having through my life, and, fear, judgment, anxiety, stress, hatred, all this, just insert whatever, right? It was all there. And every day I would write all those emotions and feelings that I was feeling that day. Well, I found out months and months down the road that my list would get smaller, but every now and then I'd see a reoccurring word: fear, hatred, stress, anxiety, judgment. But it was from a different situation and scenario now. So those things are never going to leave my life. It's just a matter of like, what part of are they going to show up in, right? I'm not ever going to rid myself of having the opportunity to cast judgment on somebody, but I can allow myself the opportunity to not judge and to understand why I do judge in the first place and what that's actually trying to tell me, not what's my human, very manipulative body vessel trying to do in the scenario, right? Because this will lie to us 9 times out of 10. Look at you, bro. You're a fucking tattooed fucking Forrest Gump beard, right? I look like a fucking felon from San Quentin. People will judge us for our appearance until they know what we are inside. So what do you think we do to ourselves, right?
Right.
We allow our external to fucking just beat us. And inside, we're just pleading to ourselves, like, bro, please, bro, I love you, man. Please stop fucking using that shit. Please get up. Just do one. Just do fucking one. That's like that silent voice inside of us. It's like literally yelling at us, but in such a loving, powerful way. And one day, you know, I know for me personally, I was just like, all right, I hear you. And it's scary because you're trying something different, because now you're not trusting the world, you're trusting yourself. You're putting the power back into you. And once you put the power back into you, now your beliefs have power. Now your visions have strength, right? But when everything is just projected externally and outward, bro, you're just holding on to threads and needles, man. You're not really, you know, but we call that belief. It's actually in my world a fucking delusion, anything external of myself, because through me all things are powerful, and through me all things are capable. My belief systems, I can have those, not my society and my external, but inside me, I can have beliefs now. I can have fuel that lights my fire. I can plant my flag inside, not what happened to me yesterday, not how I'm feeling today, but I inside can determine all these things about myself and who I want to be, what path I want to walk, and what mountains I want to fucking scale. But if I live externally, if I live influenced by society, influenced by the shit that I see, shit that I consume, stories that I tell myself, that's a slavery, bro. That's slavery of the mind. And I honestly got tired of being a slave to myself. I got tired of thinking that I couldn't do anything different about my life, man. And I know I'm not the only one that feels that way. I know I'm not the only one that wishes that they'd stop self-sabotaging themselves. But the thing is, you know, I got to hang out with a bunch of very financially wealthy, like multi-millionaire entrepreneurs end of last summer, actually. And we're talking, it's like this big mastermind group. And these dudes are not acting like they're better than anybody. In fact, they're actually saying shit that was so comforting. I was like, woo, okay. They were saying shit like, bro, I don't know what I'm doing. I just don't quit. They're like, dude, I have plenty of days I don't want to get the fuck up. They're like, I have plenty of days where I feel like an imposter every fucking day. And these dudes have like just crushed it in business, their entrepreneurship, and they have these feelings. And so if you take all those things and you start opening your actual eyes, you're like, wait a second. There is no secret. It's fucking grit. There is no formula. It's just push to fight. It's don't stop. It's not a formula. It's just simple truth. Because we've all experienced a blueprint to our own success in our life in some point of time. The key, though, that I've identified in my world and the reality that I live in, the universe that I live in, is that our mission is to pick up those breadcrumbs and connect the dots, because we've already laid it out. We've already overcome something in our lives before, whether it's in our childhood, gone through something hard, made some type of like conscious decision before, but then we forgot that we have power. We forgot that we can change our environment by changing ourselves. And, you know, as you're an adult, you accept a lot more norms. You accept the fact that, oh, my knees hurt, that I can't go do this shit. Oh,
your knees probably hurt because you're overweight.
Yeah, or I can't afford something. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't afford this as you're playing for your brand new Xbox and your fucking 5 subscription programs plus your OnlyFans accounts, right? Like, we tell ourselves things to distract ourselves from our own truth. And our own truth is that no one's going to come to fucking save us. And I know that shit's heard a lot. I know people hear that a lot, but what does that really mean, that no one's coming to save us? No one's going to fucking hold. Yeah, no one's going to hold your hand. And then in the day, dude, you got to free yourself. People are like, oh, I believe in this religion and this thing. That's fucking great, bro. You think you're going to be a piece of shit in this life, but you're magically going to be handled some fucking golden cradle when you leave this place? You really think that's what true love and compassion is? Or the only thing that's known to man to truly exist is this present moment. This is where we can show love and compassion.
Only thing you can control
is where we can save ourselves. This is where we can fucking pick and choose who we're going to be today and what we're going to accept and allow of ourselves. And it's so easy to get lost in like fucking tomorrow, right? Tomorrow, when we think about tomorrow, when we get lost in tomorrow, we create anxiety. And when we dive deep into our yesterday, we create depression. Well, if you want to fucking resolve anxiety and depression, sit with yourself. But then the most people can't just sit still because they're afraid of themselves. They're like, I don't read books because I just fall asleep. No, bitch, you're avoiding yourself. I can't go on silent walks without listening to music. No, bitch, because you're avoiding yourself. And that's okay. Because the moment you say, you know what, maybe I am avoiding myself, doesn't mean you're going to magically fix it. But now you planted a seed. Now you just created a wrinkle in your fucking brain and on your neural highway. Now that seed, over time, you're going to hear two more things that are going to connect those dots for you. And you'll be like, you know what? I need to create a space where I can just sit with myself. I need to take my phone from me. I need to go to the woods. But it all starts with us acknowledging the fact that I'm tired of accepting what I've been accepting. And like I said, that might not be for everybody. I know I'm not everyone's cup of tea, and that's totally fine. But guess what? I am my fucking cup of tea.
That's what makes you powerful, dude. That's what makes it so important to, people look at, so many people focus on other people's success, right? They look and they're like, oh, well, what did Cody do to freaking to like, and the second that you have a business, people think automatically you make $1 million. Like, oh, this motherfucker's rich. You know what I'm saying? Got a business, whatever. So I'm like, bro, I'm broke as shit. I'm broke as shit. But people, and like the formula to success, right? Like, people think that, oh, well, I'm just going to model this person's life. Man, everybody's formula, they're like you said, there is no formula. But if you look at a person's life, oh, well, their formula is whatever they wrote throughout the whatever they created with their life. This led to this, this led to this, and that equaled this, right? That equaled X, Y, and whatever. So when you're taking the 2 steps back and then you get the square root. So like you're kind of like cut back some steps, or whatever, so when you said the thing about belief, man, belief is so powerful, right? Like, it's like, and then what is it? Like it's the perspective of an intention that you can see it, right? Like you can see, like, belief is kind of seeing the end goal without it having to be there. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, not actually seeing the formula for it, but like, okay, well, this is a goal that I want. I know I can reach that. That's your belief. That's your work ethic, basically. You know what I'm saying? And then talking about the millionaires, dude, like those guys had to, unless it was just given to them and inherited, whatever, that's different, whatever. But most people that are extremely successful usually are some of the most humble people because they came from exactly where you are at. They came from, a lot of people that like have people immediately around them and stuff like that. A lot of reasons that like, people in your immediate circle that you grew up with or whatever, I don't know, man. Sometimes I see this as like, they can't see how you did it, so they just can't believe it. Whereas other people might not have even seen the route to success, but it's different because I don't know. It's hard to explain
I understand what you're saying. You kind of like, you can just see that determination, that humbleness, that sense of like self-worth and love. Like, yo, dude, I ain't got shit figured out. I just know that I ain't fucking quitting. You know, like, and that's like when I was back on the teams, like I could look at dudes when I used to be an instructor. I could look at dudes that were going through a pipeline and be like, that's going to be a fucking good dude. Not because he was the best runner, not because he was like the best ruck runner, land naver guy, but because you could just feel their energy. You could tell that like that person's not afraid to eat humble pie. That person's not afraid to fucking pick up a gun and fight. That person's not afraid to fucking risk their life for someone else. That person is just fucking here because they choose to be. And a person that chooses to fucking pick their head out their ass, that's a fucking dangerous motherfucker. A person that chooses to accept their life, that's a dangerous motherfucker. A person that chooses this gift of like, yo, this thing is to be full of ups and downs and a shit ton of unknowns, and I have no idea what I'm doing, and I'm okay with that because I know if I keep pushing, I'm going to get to what I want. And guess what? If I fail, I'm going to learn. And that's going to help me get to what I want. So a person who's not afraid to succumb to failure, right? This whole like, oh, you can't fail something, you're a pussy. Like, what? If you quit something, that doesn't even make you a pussy. I can't tell you how many people I know that quit their jobs. They're not pussies. They love themselves. You know what I'm saying? I've seen guys quit our selection process. They weren't pussies. They literally said, I don't want to be here anymore. That takes balls. You made a decision. Making a decision is hard. And if it was easy, everyone would do it, but they don't. And those people that are able to do these things, man, they're capable of so much more. But the problem is like when we do these things, when we quit something, when we stand up for ourselves, when we speak up, when we accept these certain norms or challenges, we can beat ourselves up and then we forget who we actually are. When that dopamine wears off, when that sense of self-pride wears off, it's like, okay, when the dust settles, bro, who are you? And when you realize you have to repeat the same process over again tomorrow, that your high, your vibration, your energy of today is not guaranteed to transcend to tomorrow, and you're like, fuck, I got to do this whole thing over again? Oh my God. And when you start living like that, man, it's hard, yes, but then you really realize that nothing worth anything comes easy. And that hard is just fucking truth. And when you have truth in your life, whatever that means to you, whatever your truth is, bro, that's power. And no one can take that from you. Not the rainiest of days, not the darkest of fucking nights, not the pitiest of parties, bro, can take that shit from you. Because you know that as long as you live, there's a chance. But there's a chance for everything. And you know that as long as you keep on showing up and you put up a fucking fight, you sharpen your sword, you sharpen your fucking mind, and you don't let yesterday break you the fuck down. And if you slip and fall, you don't kill yourself, you don't beat yourself up. You literally tell yourself, yo, bro, pick yourself up and let's get back to it. When you do that, dude, you're literally you're contagious at that point because you're uncontrollable. You're contagious. Because that person will never be stopped, no matter how many times they fail, no matter how much adversity is thrown at them, no matter what the fuck happens in their life, that person ain't stopping because they're addicted to the commitment, right? They're addicted to the process. They're addicted to the gift of life. And, you know, I could tell you firsthand experience, I had not committed to life until honestly quite recently, like end of last year, like truly committed to the fact like, yo, dude, you have a gift. And that gift is fucking being alive right now. And you can stop working on yourself if you want to, but you already know what's going to happen. You can say that, oh, you've already done enough and you know what's going to happen. Or you can put your big boy pants on and show the fuck up for battle every day, whether you want to or fucking not, because guess what? If you want to value this life, dude, there has to be a level of sacrifice. And that sacrifice is that inner bitch we have inside that we call our self-doubt, that we call our fucking hater, that we call our antagonist, that we call the devil, that we call evil, we call darkness, we call depression, we call it whatever name you want to give it. Dude, we don't have to let that shit control us. And if you're having a shitty day, you can have a fucking shitty day. That's okay. You're human. But don't beat yourself up about it. Implement good practices in your life. If you don't have any good practices, find some practices. Take ownership of your life, right? And that's those messages and that's these conversations I've had with myself for years now. And that's what embodies my brand. That's what embodies my group. And that's what fucking fuels my life. And when I feel down on myself, dude, I'm like, fuck, I'm lost, man. I'm trying to build an empire. How do I do it? It's not working out instantly. I'm not instantly a fucking gazillionaire, right? Like, oh my God, life is hard. There's competition. Good.
That's
It's
what
a
makes
reminder.
you better.
It's a reminder that, bro, why are you trying to give up? Why are you trying to make a deadline or finish line where you think you can end? You know, I finished my bodybuilding competition. I did it. I only did this bodybuilding competition because I had severe anxiety and depression. And I'm like, fuck, if I can get on that stage without passing out, I could do anything. Well, I attributed my happiness, my overcoming of hurdles to a competition. And I remember I finished my spotlight, you know, showing, and I'm in the back. The competition's over. I'm in the back eating gummy bears and frosting, right? Just like shoving this shit in my fucking face. And I was instantly empty again. And that's when I realized that I can continue to attribute what happiness is to me and attach it to something, or I can attach it to myself. And at the time, I didn't know how to attach it to myself, but I stopped fucking giving other things the outlet for me to be happy. Oh, when I achieve this, I'll be happy. Oh, when I do this, I'll be happy. I'm like, no. When am I going to be happy with myself? What can I do to be happy with me? And that's when I just went down this path of like, I don't give a fuck what I got to do, bro. I'm willing to give up everything to find out who I am, because I want to live, dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, we, especially military guys and gals, right? Gone through so much shit, whether you went to combat or not. I don't give a fuck if you're a combat vet. I don't care about those things. And PTSD, depression, all these things, bro. You understand, to go to boot camp, you literally, how programming works, literally how programming works. They have to shock and awe you, right? That you get shocked with terror, right? You get fear and drilled into you, then you get blanketed, right? You get you get broken down to the lowest common denominator, while you shave your head, everyone gets naked, you all take showers together, right? Same shit they do in the fucking penal system, all for a reason, to shock and fear you. And once you have shock and fear in your system, you can now be programmed. Eat when I say to eat, stop when I say to stop, go here when I say to go here. We call it order and discipline in the military, but what's really happening is we're being programmed, and that's okay. That's how the system works. That's okay. Not a knock on it. It works, right? We need good order and discipline, but that's how the programming happens. Well, when we do this to ourselves, it's no different. It's the same thing. But if it can happen to us and strip us away from our old identity to a new identity, a United States Marine, a United States soldier, or a United States sailor, right? Whatever the title is, why can't I do that for a person, a human being, someone with a pulse, right? Someone with a dream. It takes the same thing, but that shock and fear has to become reality, not fucking fear and darkness and like fight or flight. It just takes a flip-flop opposite of what you had experienced to go through it. But to go through boot camp, how many chicks are abused verbally, or physically? How many dudes are abused verbally or physically while they're service? You don't need to go to combat to get treated like shit.
Right.
You just got to be treated like shit. You know what I'm saying? There was this big issue. I remember when I was a master sergeant in the Marine Corps. I was super fucking senior. I was already like a E8 for 3 years in MARSOC, Marine Special Operations Command. And I held a very high billet. And I remember going to this TBI. My neurosurgeon, because I was on a medical board at the time, my neurosurgeon fucking calls me out, not in a bad way. He's like, "Hey, Cody, he always called me by my first name, which was badass. He's like, "Hey, Cody, do you want to share your story? The things you're going through right now?" I'm just like, oh my God, as I'm like fucking profusely sweating with like crippling anxiety, right? And I'm like, oh yeah. And I tell what's going on. And I ended it with this. Like, I feel bad for the E1s to E3s that come to our unit that are pogues, right? They're administrative people, they're logistical people, they're supply people that talk about they have depression, talk about they have anxiety, or talk about how they have, PTSD of some sort, and they're neglected because they're young. And I am a 3-year E8, right? Which is fucking extremely senior. There's only 9 ranks in the enlisted site, and I'm an 8, been one for 3 years, and I'm literally having to fight from it. I have to throw temper tantrums and like swear at motherfuckers for them to listen to me that I needed help, because we have this normality where it's like, everyone suffers, bro. Yours is not that bad. Everyone goes through some hard time, bro. I'm like, fuck you, dude. I know this is not my best. I need help, And when you have these younger men and women that have these issues that no one listens to, holy fuck, no wonder they're killing themselves. No wonder they're getting out of the military feeling inadequate, because their environment said, like, you don't fucking rate. You can't have PTSD. You've never even deployed. Well, last time I checked, you can have any form of trauma happen to you and have some form of PTSD.
Most people grow up and they have some kind of trauma from whatever, right? Like whether you got picked on, whatever. Yeah, but my bad.
No. That's absolutely it, man. Like, the 20-year war has really, one, it's been a story in itself, but the 20-year war has really taken the ability for the average bear, the non-combat citizen of America, to be allowed to have any form of suffering,
any kind of recognition, acknowledgement, or whatever. It's the same weak ass mindset that I had whenever I got back, right? Of if you didn't go to combat, I was like, there's no way you can have PTSD. And that's very piece of shit of me. You know, I'm glad I fucking changed that mindset. I probably wouldn't be talking to you right now if I did.
Yeah, dude, I think there's all these phases because I got out. When I first got out, I hated veterans. Veterans were like fucking victims to me, and I wanted nothing to be. I wanted nothing to do with them. And then I hated the military. I'm like, oh, the military did this to me. You know, I was a victim. Then I hated like the system. Then I hated all these things, and it was just like all this projection, all these like pointing of fingers, right?
Well, it's
Because I
a
was
straight reflection of how you felt about
straight
yourself, right?
reflection of me. It was like, hello, I'm really talking about you,
I'm
but you're
really just screaming in here,
yeah,
motherfucker, I'm fucked up.
yeah. But like, I'm just like, it's your fault. You're the bad one. Your fault. And you know, I'm so grateful for all that because at the end of the day, I think we're all posed with that type of opportunity or that type of situation in life. And we're all posed with the fact that like we don't, you know, only you can decide if you want to wake up, you know? Only you can decide if you want to really take your power back in. Only you can decide if you really want to create change. I've talked to plenty of people that are like, oh, you know, I can't ever give up drinking. I'm like, shut the fuck up, bro. You just don't want to give up that version of you that you're holding on to. Oh, I can't do this. I'm like, well, then you're not ready. And that's okay. You know, they tell you these old fable stories. You can lead a horse to water, but you can't make it drink. I mean, dude, you can't free people. People think that God's going to free them. People think that, I mean, in my world, in the world I live in, nothing's going to free you but yourself because you have to choose these things. You have to acknowledge these things. You have to give power to your belief. And guess what? You're a big ass power source. You're literally a walking ball of energy. You know, we're 70% water inside of us. We're literally a big conduit. And people who don't believe me or believe in energy, have you ever went to like a rave or like a concert and stood next to a fucking speaker? It like warps your soul inside. You're like, oh my God, because it's sending energy frequencies, waves through you, right? And it's hitting the water inside you and it's like fucking crippling you. Well, what do you think's happening to us when we are listening to toxic shit, doing toxic things, being around toxic people? Well, you know, in the military, you know, when I used to drink all the time and I don't think I was ever a bad drinker, but I definitely made some bad decisions. But I remember going to the bars on the weekends. That's what the team guys did. That's what we did. We went to the Raider bar. We get shit-faced, chase chicks, and fucking talk shit. But every time we're just talking about work. It's always work. And it's like some form of shit talking. It's some form of negativity. Well, when you're constantly around that energy source, dude, guess what? You're not filling your cup. You're not finding that power to like do something different with your life. You know, that's why it's important. If anyone's listening to this right now, if you want to change your life, you got to change your fucking circle. You got to start realizing that, yo, dude, you're responsible for your life. You're not, your friends aren't responsible for you. Your shitty group or your really supportive group, they're not responsible for you. You're responsible for yourself. And, you know, what I provide in my group R3 is some people, they have good friends, but they don't have that people that they can talk to. Right? They don't have that circle. They can share their deeper, darkest inner secrets. That's why I encourage people to journal, bro. If you can't be truthful with yourself, how you ever to be truthful with the belief system you have, right? Or to anything else in your life. Like if you can't shoot the shit straight with you, that's a huge problem. Oh, I don't know how to write. I'm afraid of what might happen. What, you're afraid you
Draw
might
a
find
fucking
out?
picture. I don't know.
Yeah,
Fucking
you're afraid you might fucking find out that you actually suck and you're not this great fucking thing you once thought. And that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that because you can change that. Look at you, bro. You just said you got your ass beat, incarcerated wrongfully, right? And you need to change your life around, dude. And you know, you keep on talking about wanting to be a first form athlete. Dude, I actually, Hannah Hannah Jones now.
Yeah.
She's actually like my real life homie. And you know what I met her a long time ago. And you know, so what I know you now, I'm just like, yeah, bro, you could totally be a first form athlete. Why can't you?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Like, what makes you capable or incapable? Your actions are, man. Your mindset is, dude, the impacts you're making, the ripples that you're creating, right? And you know, that's to me what those people are looking for. That's what that group, that community is looking for because, dude, we are all leaders. It's just a matter if we're going to step up. I remember in boot camp, I remember them saying like, you know, the very first like couple of days of like boot camp, we just got into the platoon or whatever. They're like, who wants to be a leader over here? And like, none of them, like half the people raised their hands. So that is fucking proof that not everyone is ready to answer that call. They don't believe in themselves. They're fucking scared. They're timid, or they're too judgy of themselves and or others. But there's always someone out there who's going to answer that call. Why can't that be you? Why isn't that you? Why isn't that me? And guess what it is? You know, I'm a natural leader. Why? Because I use my voice. What God gave me, I use
I'm
it.
not afraid to speak the fuck up.
I'm not afraid to speak the fuck up. Oh, what? You might not like what I said. I can't tell you how many times I was threatened in the military or fucking bullied by generals, dude. Like, I would literally get told in my job to like, Cody, don't ask any questions. I'm like, and I'm like a fucking senior ass fucking guy. I'm like, why can't I ask questions? They're like, oh, they're not approved. I'm like, they're not. I can go fucking fight and die, but I can't ask this dude that has someone put on his kit for him. I can't ask this motherfucker a question. Does he like piss angels? Does he like have tea time with God that I'm not aware of? Like, is he better than thou? Like, why can't I ask questions? How are things supposed to be changed if we don't ask questions? And I'm not talking about like, oh, why is the sky blue? I'm talking about like real impactful shit that fits my environment in the time. And you know, our voice is our superpower. And if you don't use it for someone else, that's fine. You're not required to, but use it for yourself because it's your voice. And in doing so, you're going to find out that your voice not only impacts and ripples your life, it impacts and ripples someone else's life. But you'll never know that if you stay in your own fucking shadows. And I can tell you this, I might have left the military pretty fucking broken, pretty lost. But one thing that I hold true to myself my entire career is that I was me. I was still a goofy motherfucker, bro. I was a goofy dude in boot camp that was trying to get over, that was stealing fucking peanut butter packets from the chow hall. I was that same motherfucker as a 3-year E8, you know, super fucking senior in the special operations community. I was a goofy guy, looking tattooed thug, you know, hooligan that was goofy. I was me. And if I can't be myself, what am I doing? And if people could just remember who they are, right? You might not know everything you want to know, but if you could just remember that, dude, you are you. You're not your job. You're not your past. You're not the future, because the future doesn't exist. You're just you.
And you don't have to have fucking permission to be you.
Yeah. And if today you're having a hard time and life is really fucking hard for you right now, that's okay.
It's hard for a lot of people.
But it's okay to endure those things. But when we try to escape from it, that's when we just make it so damn difficult. And when we make it difficult, dude, it's just like we put all this like unrealistic expectations on life and who we want to be, and we make life living hell. And I'm sure half your viewers know exactly what that's like. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because I know what it's like.
Yeah. I think we all put each other, you know, especially, I think, you know, my time in the military and stuff like that, like I came out, I was, like you said, man, I was extremely broken. I was lost. I didn't know what the hell to do. As much as I hated being in it, I hated being out. You know what I'm saying? Like I needed that, like I wanted that sense of camaraderie. And I was not a good, garrison was not my thing. I was better in the field. You know what I'm saying? Like, hey bro, like I'm a war dog. Okay. Like I'm not saying that like I live for war, but I'm just a better field soldier than I am a garrison soldier. Like
you're not a house cat,
dude. I'm meant to fucking, you know, and humans are not meant to live indoors. You know, we're savages, bro. We really are. You know what I'm saying? Or I think the way that I feel about it, like, dude, we're not meant to like sit in front of these screens and stuff like that. I'm grateful for them, right? But when you get out from behind that screen, what are you going to do? You're probably going to do some outside shit. You're probably going to fuck with your chickens. You're probably going to improve your AO, right? Like, and by the way, before I forget, I wanted to ask you about your chickens. How are your chickens? And hopefully my mom's still watching, because she's real big into chickens and stuff like that. They call her the crazy chicken lady. But well, how are your chickens doing? Because I remember you telling me you had lost some and stuff like that. So how is everything going?
Yeah, I lost 8 of them
in one night, right?
2 weeks ago. Yeah, I lost 4 on transport and then 4 on the first night. And so now I just picked up 12 chickens today, all healthy, all safe.
Are they the ones that have like the big feet with the feathers on their feet? What are those chickens called?
I forget. My wife is like the chicken master. I'm still learning all of them. I'm like, oh, I didn't know there was like different different species. I thought a chicken was a chicken. Clearly, that's not the case. There's like, we have a couple of them. We actually found out that one of them is a rooster. He's got like those things on it, the feathers on his feet.
Yeah.
But for the longest time, he wasn't crowing. He didn't have like anything that resembled a rooster. And then one day the dude starts crowing. He won't shut up, or, you know, what are they crowing, whatever it's called.
Yeah.
Waking my ass up. And so now I have 17 chickens. So we got, you know, those like big old metal troughs that you can like do ice baths in and shit.
Yeah.
We have 2 of those in our mud room because for the small chicks, and then our big chicken coop, we have our big chickens. And so dude, we have, what I say, 15, 16 chickens now. I don't even know what the hell we're going to do with them, but they're doing okay. So
nice.
Yeah, more responsibility.
So that bird that you didn't know there was a rooster for a while, you think he probably got his HRT protocol in, and then
he's definitely juicing, bro. You know what I'm saying? Like he just started juicing, and like now he's just like unstoppable.
Man, dude's nuts dropped quick.
Yeah, he's like like just like savage. So they're crazy. He's pretty cool though. The other rooster we have is like a straight. I don't go into that chicken coop without a stick because that dude's like trying to always spur me, and you know, it's easy to like hit an animal. Or, I don't do that shit, but like I take the stick to like kind of like push him just away, keep him back,
right?
Yeah, dude. Because I didn't grow up on a farm. I'm a softie when it comes to animals. Like honestly, the only thing I hate about animals is the fact that like I eat them and I'll hunt them, all these things, and like it's just it's still something that's like weird. It's like different for me because I never grew up this way. Now that I'm living this way, it's like a different reality check and way more respect. And you know, animals should have a good life, even though chickens are absolutely fucking dumb and they're just nasty heathens, dude. They're
all disgusting, right?
And they're mean as shit to each other, bro. Like one of my hens has like no hair.
They'll peck each other's head and shit like that. And like, why are you being
if they see blood, dude, they'll like attack you and they'll kill you. I'm just like, what the hell? These raptors, bro. Like, what do we get, babe? Like, these aren't chickens. These are fucking pterodactyls, dude. Like, what's going on? Like, fucking,
dude, it's like you don't even fly that well, you weak bitch.
Yeah, weak bitch. But it is definitely we have like the little zoo at our house. And it's becoming a zoo, so it's getting there.
Man, you ever seen a chicken fight before?
No. I know you're talking about, but I haven't seen
it. They're pretty ruthless, dude. I went to one when I was a kid and stuff like that, and that was not my cup of tea. Like, yeah, I'm not a fan of watching, like, same thing with dogs, man, dude. Like, dog fights and stuff like that. I can't handle that shit. Like, I can do with people, it's a whole nother thing because that's a choice. But animals were not meant to just like go to war with each other. I mean, yeah, in the wild, yes, but not to be just turned on. They're pack animals for a reason, this, whatever, you know, like same thing with but humans have a choice of when they, you know, but forcing things, I don't like that. I'm not a fan of that shit.
Hey, let's starve this dog, beat this dog, or let's tape razors to this chicken. Like, that's just fucked up, dude. And, you know, but, you know, I've had my own fucked up things in life, so I understand how people can do some crazy ass shit. But like you said, it's not my cup of tea, dude. I don't need that energy in my life.
Yeah, I heard that. Man, so if you want to, I think we probably kind of, I don't want to say exhausted anything because I feel like I could talk to you forever on here. But is there anything else that you would what would you want to tell people, or what's the message that you mainly want to get across? If you could put it into a short form or short summary. I probably should have told you that earlier, so that way you could think about it.
Yeah, I mean, I think I say it differently every time, but the message, the meat behind the message is still the same. Like, if you don't like your life right now, you can change it. And the biggest hurdle that you're going to face is you're not going to see that change happen tomorrow. That's the gift, right? I tell people and I tell myself this, right? When I committed to life, and when you commit to life, whatever that means to you, right? Your version of that, right? Your version of truth for you, your life. When you commit to life, dude, it's committing to the path, and the path isn't identified. The path isn't cleared. The path leads you to that oasis, right? You know there's an oasis out there, but it's like that fucking mirage. You don't know how far or how long it's going to take you to get there. And you have to still accept that truth and still continue on that journey. That's the only way to pull yourself out of wherever you're in life. And if you look at life as a destination, you're going to be let down. If you look at life as a journey that is continuous, never ending, and evolving, bro, you're going to have a fruitful life because you're going to grow and evolve. And to me, that's the gift. So if you're struggling with something right now in life, you're unhappy with your business, you're unhappy with your relationship, unhappy with yourself, look inward. Yourself is crying for help for you. If you haven't cried in a year, and you know you haven't cried in a year, but you feel like you can't watch a movie without getting emotional, that's a telltale sign. If you are seeing signs that are popping into your life and you're denying that call, that is a sign. The universe, God, whatever you believe in, is reaching out to you on a daily basis to help guide you, because we are all lost until we're found. And what is found to me? Found is the fact that, like, hey, I don't really know where I'm going. I just know I'm walking this way because I've walked that way before and it sucks. But I'm going to walk this way. I got to break a bunch of brush to get there. I don't even know what the fuck's on the other side. But I know down that path leads to a dead end. That path leads to letdown, sadness, hurt. I don't need to walk down that path anymore. So if whatever you're doing in life right now isn't working for you, do something different. That's what I would say to anybody. And that's the message that I leave, is that don't compare with me. Don't compare with Jeff. Compare with yourself. Are you better than yesterday? And the answer is no. Don't beat yourself up. Identify what needs to be changed. Create a fucking plan. Sometimes that plan is simple as this. You're going to do one push-up tomorrow. You're going to drink one less fucking beer tomorrow. You're going to say one sentence of fucking true gratitude tomorrow. And I can tell you from personal experience, whoever's listening to this right now, how I have found happiness, and happiness to me is the fact that I have control of my life. I have a plenty of shitty days. I have plenty of days that are super hard for me, and I feel lost and an imposter and don't know what I'm doing or what I'm supposed to be doing or whatever. But I don't give up. I don't give up because I know that it's just me closer and closer through my breakthrough. And once I get past that breakthrough, guess what? I'm going to endure the same shit again. I'm going to continue to level up until I am no more. And that's the journey that I'm on. And that leveling up is just me seeing myself from a different place, not holding on to yesterday, accepting today as the only thing that exists. And if I'm not happy with it, I can fucking change it, dude. So, if you're out there right now, don't fucking give up on yourself. Literally push the fight. Find out whatever you need to find out about yourself to see the value in yourself. And if you have no value in yourself, you need to spend a time with a mirror. You need to look at yourself in the eyes. You need to focus on your fucking pupils. And you need to just be with yourself, because the things that you're avoiding are the salvation you're looking for.
Bro, that wasn't some of the dopest shit I've ever heard. Like, that is legit. Like, bro, man, I am so grateful for you. I'm grateful for your message. I absolutely love you. The group, Raw Real Ready.
Yeah, Raw Real Ready.
R3.
R3.
At the Cody Alford. That's his Instagram. Make sure you follow him. The dude is just like larger than life energy. If you haven't figured it out by now, humble, awesome, rock star dude. By the way, I liked your post talking about, like, I was never a rock star, but how does it go?
Yeah, I was never a rock star, but I'm trying to live more like a rock star, right? Just like have more fun in life and,
embrace that shit, dude.
Yeah, just have fucking fun. Have fun. And, when I started to like invest in myself, I put so much pressure on trying to heal. I got to heal myself so I can appreciate life. And in the process, I was realizing I was working on myself, yes, but I was missing out the purpose of life. And that's to be, to live. And so now if I'm having a bad day, I'm like, all right, we're having one of those days. I'm going to go down my list of things that I do that fucking boost me up and change my vibration. If I sitting there feeling like a fucking loser that I can't do anything. Nah, bro, a rock star has fun. And I've survived so much. We've all survived so much. Everyone right now listening to this that's alive right now has a 1 in 400 trillion chance to even be alive. And I don't know about but I know I have really neglected that before in my life. And my mission in life now is to embrace it and to be grateful as fuck, And I love life, dude. And I don't know anything about it. And that's what I love about it, because that means there is no end to it, right?
But you're open-minded to the fact of learning. You know what I'm saying? And then create. Yeah, 100%, dude.
We gotta learn. And I was really against that for a long time in life. I don't need to learn anything. I don't want to read any books and get anyone else's perspectives in my mind. Like, shut up, bro. That came from like a place of like, I know everything. And I quickly realized I knew not as much as I thought I did. And that's okay.
100%, man. All right, once this is done, I'm gonna post a link to your group. I think I can do that on my YouTube as well.
Okay.
Or if I can't, I'll figure it out. Dude, thank you for taking the time to chat with us and share your perspective. I'm about to close this out, and I'll catch up with you. Just hang on for a second, and I'll see you back in the studio. And thank everybody for tuning in live. Appreciate y'all. Cody and Jeff out.
Bye, guys.